Hi all, thank you for taking time to watch this and we'll think and pray about this topic of women in leadership. Normally I don't do this kind of video, but since my husband asked me and I like to share the stand of why women should be in the leadership. First of all, I come with an open mind, and I pray that all of you would do the same because God is a God of miracle and He can do anything. Um, so I want to jump in to talk about how God empowered women and used them throughout the history. So I want to go back to First Peter 4:10. It says, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. One of the famous female leaders was Deborah. So Judges 4 and 5 tells the great leader the story and how she worked and served the land. And she was not only a judge, but also a prophet. And Miriam, the sister of Moses and Aaron. She was not just as a worship leader after they crossed the Red Sea. She took the tambourine and led the whole nation into worship. At the same time, she was also a leader alongside with Moses and Aaron. And also, maybe you've never heard of this lady. Her name is Huldah. She appears in 2 Kings chapter 22. So King Josiah finds the long lost book of the law, and the kingdom it was in need of great revival. So King Josiah gathered some of the most trusted prophets, and she had a leading role in that story in the restoration of the kingdom. And Phoebe, she had a title of deacon. It's from Romans chapter 16, verse 1. Um, so many scholars believe that her role was to take Paul's letter to the church in Rome, where she would have read it to the believers and even answered questions they may had. So she had a great responsibility there. And Felicia, along with her husband Aquila, and she was a businesswoman in Corinth, and she gave Paul a job and place to live, and they also told him, and her name was listed first before her husband. So some people believe that she had more leading role in teaching in terms of in relationship with Paul. So there are so many more women in the Bible, but I just want to mention 5 of them now. And I have gathered some resources for you to watch or read. This particular one, a video, it's an interview of Dr. Phyllis Zagano and Bishop Barnard. So these two from the team who studied the role of women in leadership, and it's actually from Pope Francis. He got a commission to study the history of women and women deacons, and they spent months and I don't know how long they actually did the study, but they lived in Vatican and studied all these things, and it's quite interesting, so informative. So I hope you can watch that. And also, Ben found some great teachings and videos from FEIC conference. It was taught by some theologians, as he says. And I also got one document from our friend Claire. She visited us here one time. She leads YM office in Finland. Yeah. And lastly, I like to share a short personal story. So where I grew up spiritually was at SCF, Shanghai Community Fellowship in China, Shanghai, and that church embraced female leadership. Um, and as I and Ben grew up there spiritually and coming here after receiving the call to serve in Germany, Munich, we talk about this topic, and that was 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I'll say. Um, and we came to the conclusion of not including women in leadership, and I was the only one who believed that women should. And it was quite heartbreaking because um, having that mindset and culture of everyone should be allowed to exercise the gift God has given them, and church is the place. Church really sets the atmosphere and culture when people come in and they feel that we are encouraged and we are expected and we are wanted. Anyone, women, men, whoever that is. And I believe that. So when we came to that decision, it was quite hard. And I prayed and I asked him, why did he bring me here after I gave up everything? But I felt that God was telling me to wait. So I obeyed him. I waited. I didn't become bitter and disappointed. I just kept on serving and did whatever I can to serve in the church and love the people I had. And now again, this topic came up and not from me because I didn't want to force my way. And in the end, it's his church and he is in control. So when this topic came again, I felt like, wow, maybe God is trying to change something. In the end, it's God who 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 make who makes things move forward. And to be honest, I can see more women in the church being empowered and encouraged to use their spiritual gifts. And there's a lot of potential in that area, and I don't see that yet in our church. And I pray and I'll I'll do what I can to really support that. And I really believe the role of our church or any church is to train and equip believers so that they can reach the full potential of what God has called and installed for them, for their lives. And yeah, I just pray that we take this matter seriously and not like, oh, again, this topic, we don't want to talk about it, but instead, this is an opportunity. Maybe we can do better. And sadly, I had one guest at Explorers Group in the first year in Munich. She clearly told me, uh, I would not like to receive Jesus or go commit to church because church does not value women. And that was really sad. And that's how she saw church. Maybe not our church, but maybe that's how she grew up with it. If the churches give that impression to some people, it, it's just it's a disgrace. I find it very painful that people already make that judgment before they get to really, get to know God personally. So I really think that church culture is important, and this woman in leadership has a big impact on that culture we could build. Yeah. So finally, 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. I like to say this one. Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice, strive for full restoration, encourage one another, be one of mind, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. God bless you and thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.